Welcome to Tucker Carlson Today. Jim Breuer is a famous and very talented comedian. Unlike most comedians, however, he's an interesting person. He's currently on his Freedom of Laughter tour. He recently announced he'd be canceling any show that required proof of vaccination to attend. So that makes him different from most. He joins us now. Jim Breuer, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, everybody hates when I do this, but our producers always put these together, and let me embarrass you by playing a quick montage of you.
Uh-oh.
Just because
Sure.
our viewers already like you, and they will like being reminded of why they like you.
Okay,
Here
sure.
you are.
Sure.
Jim Breuer, here he is.
Hey, look, man, everything's cool. Hey, look, why not just buy you a beer and... Hey, man.
I'm Joe Pesci. All right, tonight is a special night. My co-host is one of my idols, okay? He blazed the trail for short Italian American actors like yours truly.
A frequent panelist on my show from the popular MTV program, Hey, Remember the 80s, Goat Boy.
Hey, Charlie.
Are you ready for some news, Charlie? The independent cops are going a little too far. Only one person knows, and his name is
Jim Breuer on Saturday Night Live. So how, fantastic. Boy, look at those. It really was a different, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
It doesn't feel like it, but it was.
That was a long time
So
ago.
just root yourself for our viewers in, like, time and place in America.
Sure.
Where'd you grow up? How'd you get to where you are?
So I grew up Valley Stream, Long Island.
Yep.
Very, very blue collar.
Yes.
My dad was World War II vet. Everyone thought it was my grandfather. It was my father. Married to my mother, who lost her first husband in World War II while she was pregnant with his kid.
Wow.
So I grew up with a lot of that. I grew up with a lot of Italian. It was Irish, Italian, German, Jewish community. It was a great, really hardcore blue-collar upbringing.
What do people do for a living, by and large?
Police.
Yeah.
My dad was sanitation. My mom worked at JFK for Pan Am.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot of, it was very blue collar, and it was the greatest. I tell you what, I had the greatest upbringing in my whole life, and I begged God when I had kids that they would have half the childhood I did. And although we didn't, we weren't on vacations every year, and it was just the unity, everyone looks after each other. That was, to me, what I've always thrived for my whole life, this whole morality. It was God, faith, family, work.
Yes.
And that was the motto, But God, do the right thing. You God first, then you work hard, family, but you don't dedicate your life to just working your life away, and you keep the morals front and center. And it was, I got to say, it kind of molded me, and we were really funny. Even though my dad, I know he saw terrible things, he never, ever complained about anything in the world, ever. Never moaned, never played victim. And what was even more amazing as I grew up and I realized was they were the funniest human beings. 5 Brewers went into World War II, all 5 Breuer boys. And I didn't really understand what was going on until I got older.
Where were they from?
Kentucky.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So originally I guess they migrated, to Kentucky for whatever reason. Dayton, Kentucky. And so all 5 boys went into the war. All 5 came home. One was captured twice by the Nazis and escaped both times. One was shot down. Uncle Charles was shot down, stuck in Nazi Germany for like 6 weeks playing a deaf mute, and French underground saved him. So growing up as a kid, watching them all together, laughing like that. That's all I remember is just family laughing. And so it was a phenomenal growing up. And then I knew by the time I was probably 16, I wanted to do stand-up comedy. I loved making people laugh. I knew it was a powerful healer.
Yeah. Which it is.
Oh, without a doubt, it's probably one of the best healing remedies in the world. And that struck me too. When I was young, there was this older girl that was crying hysterically over something silly. And my mission was to make her laugh and take this pain away. And when it did, I remember the way she looked at me. She looked at me like I was a nutball, and she went, "Oh my God, this is the worst day of my life. You gotta, what the hell? I shouldn't be laughing." And that, I know it sounds weird, but that is when it really struck my. Part of me wanted leather pants and a kangaroo. I wanted to be the white Eddie Murphy. To be dead honest with you. Yeah. I wanted leather pants. I wanted to wear the leather pants, and then I want to get famous. I want to get monkeys brought in and giraffes and have my own zoo. But the other half, the other struggle was, hey, I gave you this power to make people laugh. You stick to the mission, and you'll get. So I always, that's technically where it all started. So
amazing. I don't think I've ever laughed harder than at, as perverse as it sounds, but at wakes after funerals. You know, when no, not because death is funny. It's the saddest thing. But there's a lot of pent up emotion. And if someone, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, listen, it's funny that you say that. One of the pivotal moments in my entire lifetime, my hand to God. There was this girl, Kristen, I was really close friends with. My parents moved. It's the law. You work and then you retire and you go to Florida.
Yeah.
And I was very angry at them. I was so mad at them. Yeah. I grew up on the same street my whole life. I'm 19 years old. Now we're going to Florida. And people wearing boots, and I got a dangling cross earring with AC/DC jacket. I was a mess. So with that said, I become friends with my neighbor, this girl, Kristen. And she really, really pushed me to be, you got to go into stand-up comedy. You have to be funny. And she was my neighbor, and she died tragically of a terrible crash. She wanted me in the car that day, but what I remember most was her funeral. It was so sad and tragic. Yes. And it was the first real funeral of someone that I knew. And I remember being in the room. I walked in the funeral room. And I said, everyone's sad, and I'm looking at pictures, going, that's not the Kristen I remember. This is not the. And it was a couple of us that said, let's get out of here. This is not what it's supposed to. And we went outside, and I just said, don't you feel like we should be celebrating? Like we should be talking? And I started imitating her, as if what she would be saying right now and what we'd be doing right now.
Yes.
And we started laughing so hard.
Right.
And we were in a circle. I swear to God, there was about 8 of us, and we started laughing. And at a moment, I lost everything. I was such in the moment of just hearing the laughter, which was healing. Her parents came out, and I stopped, and there was a circle. And I went, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. This is not what I'm not. And they went, no, keep going.
Exactly.
Keep going. And those are pockets of time that every time I get down, every time I feel like, oh, I didn't get my leather pants. I didn't get my. Those are way more powerful for me than any other moment in time. I remember those moments more than you're sold out for 8 straight shows. Nobody sells it. Those moments.
Yes.
I remember so much more.
I believe it because they're totally real and life affirming.
But the funeral, that was probably one of the most empowering moments for me, and it was from finding the comedy.
So how did you wind? So you're 19 at that point?
Yeah.
How did you wind up from there? Getting to Saturday Night Live.
So I knew it was about, I try to appease my mother. My mom was, again, she came from a different era. She lost everything. She grew up in Greenwich Village. She had lots of money. First husband dies in the war. Then her father died 2 years later. And then, so then she got poor. Long story short, she was always like, you got to back yourself up. Please tell me, please, you take accounting. You're good with numbers. Please, you got to back yourself up. You got it. You can't just go into entertainment. And I appeased her, appeased my mother. And I remember being in class in NASA community. That's the first time I took acting. And the teacher said, this is the last day that you can get a withdrawal. So if you want to change your major, today's the day. If you don't change it today, and I was failing horrendously. And I just knew I did not want to take accounting as a major.
Good call.
So I wanted to go into theater and start doing my stand-up comedy, what I really wanted to do. So I got up in the middle of the class, like a scene out of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I started collecting my, and Breuer, what are you doing? I said, this is the last day, right? He said, Breuer, sit down. And I went, no, I'm changing my major right now. He said, Breuer, sit down. He thought I was kidding, but I got up, I kind of waved at everyone. I said, hey man, good luck to everyone. I walked out, went to theater, signed up theater, and I started doing stand-up comedy. But years later, after my parents moved down there, I got thrown off track. And I was in Florida. I tried again what I could do to appease my mother. And I have to say, of all things, I was watching an interview. And it was freaking Eddie Murphy. He was on Arsenio Hall. And Arsenio Hall goes, for all the young comics out there, Eddie, what advice would you give? And he turned to the camera and goes, don't listen to your mother. Because your mother wants you to invest in time doing this, invest time doing that. You want to do something, you do 100%. You don't do 20% here, 20%. And I went, oh my God, he's talking to me. And he's never talking, he's right to me. So I went to my house. I said, Ma, I'm really sorry, but I'm going into stand-up comedy, eventually get film, eventually do television. This is what I'm doing. And she had a full-blown panic attack, but my father said he never talked. I can remember 5 conversations with him my whole life. He goes, you do it now while you want to. I never had that chance. So you do this right now. And he goes, and if you find yourself in your late 20s and you still haven't done anything, then you can fall back on something. But right now, you do it. I never had that chance. You go do it. And that was the game changer. That was the...
Wow.
Yeah.
So where'd you go?
Sorry, I'm losing my earpiece here. I moved too much. Here we go. So where'd I go? I started doing open mic nights.
Huh.
And so the open mic nights then led to... First, I wanted to be the best open micer. And then from the best open mic night, I wanted to make it to the house MC. Then I made it to the house MC. Then I want to start getting road trips. And then once I started getting road trips, I wanted to blow the middle out. There's the opener, the middle, the closer. I want to get to the middle spot. I got to work harder. And then once I got to the middle, I want to blow the headliner out to the point to like, this kid is a pain in our, this kid. We got to start. And then once that happened, I knew when I felt I was ready, go back to New York and try to get on television. Yeah. And that's what I did in 92. And in 6 months, God willing, landed my first television show, which was an urban show. It was filmed in Harlem. It was called the Uptown Comedy Club. You remember In Living Color?
Yeah.
It was the poor man's In Living Color. But this was real, straight from urban area, hardcore. It was me, Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
People don't remember. He started on this show along with me. And that was the greatest TV experience I ever had in my entire lifetime. Because those guys, the Brown brothers, not only would we write for a television show, there were no egos. Everyone was there to help each other. That's and I never saw that again the rest of my life in show business.
You never will.
No, I never, ever will. And they would come and they'd also give us this talk about morals and Hollywood and things they saw in Hollywood. And I didn't believe a word they would say. I didn't believe one word that these guys like, oh, they're just saying that because they're jealous. And then in time, one of the things they would say would come out on the news like, oh my God, they said they saw that 3 years ago. And oh my God, that person, oh my God, how much is really? And not until I went out there and realized how wacky it was. And
Who are these guys? The Brown brothers?
Kevin Brown, Andre Brown, show called the Uptown Comedy Club. They were
sound like good guys.
They were phenomenal. I just started getting back in touch with Kevin, and they changed my life on a. Now you understand something too. This is where I grew up in Valley Stream. Very high racial tension.
Huh.
You go to the end of the block, it was all one color. We were all the other. So if I went in their neighborhood, it was very like, hey, get back on your side. Oh, okay. Don't bring your bike over there, and I would see it vice versa. So to grow up with that mentality, and this is why it bothers me too when people are like, "Hey, you say this when you..." People grow.
Yeah.
And that show, being in Harlem for 3 years, changed my life and perspective on humanity in general.
Yeah.
And I learned so much about so many things, culture, government, how people are, just all of it, how we see, why we see things. What do they really like here? It was probably the most beautiful time in my life, I have to say. And then after that, headed to California. Oh, I got a big development deal. Big TV development deal. My wife and I just got married. And we got married in '93. First it was Disney. Like, we're going to give you $50,000 to try to develop you.
Buena Vista Television.
Yeah. You're going to come meet with some of the greatest people of our time. We've created Tim Allen and many other big, huge superstars, and eventually you'll be one of them. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to get my leather pants. I'm going to get these leather pants. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to be successful. And then that led to another show and another show and another show until then I was on a show, Cover TV Guide. It was a spin-off of Home Improvement, which was a big show back then.
Yo, big time.
Our commercials were on the air. Jim Breuer, Tuesday, right after Home Improvement. I remember my wife and I just crying and in Hollywood, like, I can't believe we made it. I can't believe we conquered a side. And then about a week before it aired, I got fired.
That sounds like television.
While the previews were still running. That was the best. There was nothing funnier than me sitting in a restaurant up in the Hollywood Hills, and the lady comes to wait on us, and she's like, Are you guys actors? I've never seen you here. Like, comedians. Did you hear about a comedian that's on television? He just got fired and his commercial's still on? Have I?
Why'd you get fired?
To this day, none of us, I never got I don't know, I wish they said you were terrible. Or the rumor I heard was they needed one more name. I don't know, because there were all names on there. I was the only guy that's never been on television or never been sitcom television. I don't know.
Did the show succeed?
No, didn't last long. And then after that is when I got Saturday Night Live, which I didn't want to do.
Why?
Because I was in the New York comedy scene. You had some great names going on there. And everyone that was on that show at the time were miserable human beings. Like they just were miserable. And I remember being really close with one comedian at the time. I go, what, like, why are you so angry all the time? It's like, oh, you don't understand. But, and I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on. So when I was asked to audition for that show, I went, oh, no, I ain't going to. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And they went, no. NBC is pushing. No, NBC. This is coming from NBC. They want you. I went, oh, well, no, everyone's miserable. No, I'm not doing it. I'd rather create my own show. It's gonna be me, about my wife. We just got married. We live in someone else's house, and blah, blah. Right, that's the show that we were kicking around town. Blue collar, we live on top of someone's house, we rent, blah, blah, blah. So finally, NBC asked me to audition. I go audition. And then I'll never forget the next day in the newspaper. And my friend calls up, he goes, don't look at the Post. I said, what's going on? He said, don't, just ignore it.
That's not helpful.
Yeah, no, you don't start. So I go there and it says, in the paper, there's a big picture about SNL and auditioning. And it said, SNL auditions, go countrywide. All of those already written off. Comedian Jim Breuer had a sitcom go bust on him, and I went, oh my God, why would you? No one knows who I am. Why would you write that? Who would spill that information? Why would you want to? But what was weirder was then the agent and they said, no, this is, you know what, you're going back in there. Well, I don't want to go back in there. This is clearly said, I'm not on there in the paper. Well, I don't want any part of that. They're like, no, this is ridiculous. And I think what happened was I was in the middle of a power struggle that I didn't know I was in the middle of.
Always.
I had no clue. I just want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. I just want to make people laugh. So that's.
But you made it there.
I made it.
What did you think of it? Was it as miserable as you thought?
Say it again.
Was the show as miserable as you thought it was going to be?
No. The show, I see. You get the show, and for me, just my experience. My experience is when you're on a show like that, you never know when you're getting fired.
Yeah.
So you're contracted for, back then, I think, maybe 9 episodes. And before I even got on, it was, hey, listen, there's a lot of people pulling for you, and there's a lot of people that are not pulling for you. So if you do make it, you probably won't be on a lot. And, I don't know, I have to make a decision soon. So that's what you're walking into. It's not like, hey man, we're Tucker. This station loves you.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team. We're fully behind you. We want you to succeed. We want you to do your thing. We love everything about you. We love what you bring to the table. It was, hey man, some people like you, some people don't. I don't know. Okay.
Who are the good people who work there? The other players.
Well, I got to be honest with you. My cast was phenomenal. We didn't have any problems with each other. It was Norm Macdonald, Tracy Morgan, me, Colin Quinn, Sherry O'Terry, Molly Shannon. Yeah. It was a crew that really got along very well.
What was Norm Macdonald like? Who just passed.
Yes.
That's why I asked.
Norm was, I probably can't tell a lot of the stories here.
Of course you can.
No.
Subscription, come on.
They have to be edited really well.
We'll edit it, don't worry.
Okay. But my introduction to Norm, I'll tell the story if you want to edit it. Nah, it's pretty rough.
That's I doubt our viewer. So viewer discretion advised.
Very, very, very. This was Now, now we're on a bit, and they're prepping us. Like, listen, we're gonna go on live television, okay? Or we're gonna be we're not live. This is a big presentation. It's BBC. This is the presentation of the new cast.
Yeah.
You are the new cast. And Lorne, I gotta give him a lot of credit. He was like, listen, they're gonna hate you. For the first year, they're gonna say you're terrible. You look like this. The show's not funny. Be consistent, be funny, and the tide always turns the second, third year. Okay. And he was right. He nailed it.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting there, and this is my introduction to Norm. Now, they're telling us, think before you speak. They're all going to want to ask you, some questions are corny, some questions are really good. But think before you put anything out there. All right, no problem. Norm's already smoking a cigarette. He's smoking a cigarette. And Marcy Klein, who's one of the producers, goes, Norm, put out that cigarette. Norm. And he goes, I'll put it out when I'm done. I go, this guy's going to get fired. Like, what is this? Like, he goes, shit, don't worry about it. She ain't about me. So I'm looking at him, and then all of a sudden they ask me a question. Jim Breuer, you grew up in New York. You grew up watching Saturday Night Live. What an amazing time in your life to grow up, watch Saturday Night Live, and now you're on it. What is that like? And I just naively and full-blown honest, I said, I didn't watch the show growing up. Survey says, oh, not a good answer. Not in the press conference. Not when there's a power struggle for you to be here. And Norm goes, yeah, like this guy. So they asked one more time. I said another dumb answer. And I really thought I was getting fired. I saw the look on Lauren's face. I knew I disappointed him. I just knew that this was a bad. Everyone else said, I grew up watching the show, couldn't wait to be here, blah, blah, blah. This is a lifetime dream. I never watched the show.
Well, you stand out.
I stand out, right? So then they asked Norm McDonald, you're the senior cast member, and everyone knows that Saturday Night Live is about frat parties. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, it's frat parties. It's going to be frat parties. And he goes, everyone knows about the practical jokes in-house. And I went, it's practical jokes? I didn't even know about that. I guess there's practical jokes. Belushi, you know, like, what? Wow. And he goes, what kind of practical jokes do you have lined up for this new cast? And I swear to God, I looked down and went, oh my God, I can't wait to hear this. And he goes, what? In disgust. What kind of practical jokes? Is that what you're asking? The first thing we were thinking about is prison rape. I went, oh my God, did he just? He goes, yeah, welcome to the new cast, is prison rape. I said, well, clearly he's going to get fired before me. And when we were over, I went, Norm, are you crazy? He goes, listen, man, it's all about, no one cares. Just be funny, it's about ratings. No one cares. You just take the headlines, kid. You need to ask questions, talk to me. And I felt like I was at that blue-collar job where when the foreman comes in and goes, now listen, this is the way we work, and this is why you're working here, and this is how we're going to do things in life. You understand? And this is rah, rah, rah. And when you leave, he's the guy who goes, yeah, you know what that guy said? Yeah, that's not how it goes down. Here's how you run the ship. And that's what Norm was. And he was one of the funniest guys I ever met ever. Always knew how to steal a headline, too. And he came in, he's like, listen, don't put me in your sketches. And I'm going to tell all you cats right now, don't put me in your dumb sketches. All right? I'm on an update. I've been here for years. I don't want to be in your stupid sketch. And I loved him even more. Like, he just come out and he's
smart.
Smart!
So what makes people funny? Like, what is the essence of it?
I think that depends on the individual, on the sense of humor. Like, I gravitated towards slapstick was my first humor.
Yeah.
Lauren Hardy, laughing. That was my first. My father was dark, drive. He was never belly laughed. He was just going, that's funny. He would sit there and watch George Carlin going, and that was my dad howling laughter. Where some of the stuff I would watch, he would just go, shit, this guy. He would laugh at Lauren Hardy. I watched Lauren Hardy was my first love, and then Abbott and Costello. I loved all comedy. And
Three Stooges.
Loved the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor, his first concert, I never saw a comedian come out and talk about real life things and just make it funny. Everything was a character. Everything was a character. He was talking about a heart attack, and my heart said, "Don't breathe." Okay. Get on the ground. Okay. You weren't thinking about being on the ground. You ate all that pork. And he would do a whole thing about having a heart attack and all these other tragic things that happened to him. And, other people would say, he's filthy and he's disgusting. But I can hear what he's saying. I can get by all this person's triggered by a curse word or this one. Him, George Collard. The first comedian I got into was Steve Martin. Yeah. Let's Get Small.
It's great
I was
album.
in 6th grade.
Yeah, me too.
I still remember the whole thing. I'm a rambling man. So
Playing the banjo.
Yeah, yes, and he was amazing.
I know.
He was amazing.
He's quite a picker. He was. He's a legitimately great banjo player. Yeah.
I know, and he tours around. I wanted to see him just as a musician because I knew how great he was.
He
He was
played
great
at
back
Knott's
then.
Berry Farm in the 60s in California.
Phenomenal banjo player, and that. So my love for comedy was so far and wide, and still is. So for me, almost anything makes me laugh. I can listen to the darkest humor and know that they're coming from a place. To me, it's about what your intention is. I'm not a fan of extreme mean. Oh, you remember the Laugh-In years ago?
Yeah.
The Laugh-In. I love with the Dean Martin Laugh-Ins. You had all the comedians and they'd come on. The really vicious go for the throat. That stuff for me, like, oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
too lacerating.
Oh, I can see that behind closed doors. And me and you known each other for a while, and we're just gonna go at it. Maybe we had a cocktail or two, and we're gonna go at it. Fun.
Yeah.
But that mean stuff, I would have but again, it's to each his own.
What do
To
you
each his own.
think, so you've done it 30 years,
Yeah.
full time for a living?
Yeah.
No offense. Your mom was wrong.
Yes, Mom blew it. So
now you look around, having spent your life at this.
yeah.
And what do you think? Like, you see the landscape, you must know, it's a pretty small world. Comedy world is small. I know this.
It is
You
small
must
world.
know a lot of the people doing it.
I know most of them.
Yeah, of course you do.
I know, yeah.
So what do you think?
As far as
Like, is it...
where it's going?
Yeah,
or-
has it changed? It seems to have changed from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah, but you can either... There's many ways it changed. It's just with the times. When I was starting, it was you need to be a big club act, and then they discover you.
Right.
Then after that, it was you got to get on TV, and still you got to be on TV and keep that following going. Then some people got upset with the internet world, where I said, if anything, I think this will help.
Yeah.
Help tremendously. Now you'll have routines that'll live forever. Which I think is, years ago I had a radio show, and one of the things we did was comedy covers, and it was the most comics had so much fun doing this. So basically, you would come in, you'd pick whatever your favorite routine is, by whatever comic, and it was very Dean Martin-ish. So
Yeah.
we'd have a panel like, all right, Tucker, what are you doing now? I know a lot of people don't know Woody Allen, but my favorite bit, all right, it's Woody Allen, blah, blah. So, and it would crush, it was great. But I think today, too, also opened the door for all different variations of comedy. The only sticky area is you have to really think about, because what what the machine likes to do is find something. We found something from 1994 when you said this. And they get, whatever those hooplas are. Kill the base, kill the base. He's worth nothing now. You had this cancel culture, and I never worry about cancel culture. I'm not a political comedian.
Right.
Although some people will try to define me over the last year or two because of the way I see my vision of what this whole lockdown / pandemic was through my eyes. And so people are like, oh, you must be this. You obviously voted for so-and-so. And you clearly are. So we've reached a point where it's just one big monstrosity of people judging and labeling, like, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. It's insanity.
Well, so how do you? Okay, so you're obviously smart and observant. So
I don't know about smart, but observant.
They're similar, I would say.
Okay.
So you know that if you say word one against what you call the machine, which is a great way to describe it, because that's exactly what it is. It's a machine. It's a soulless, human-crushing machine. If you knew that if you spoke up against it, like that would immediately change your life.
Hands down.
Yeah. But you did it anyway.
Correct.
After decades of just being a comedian, not a political guy.
But
this puts you into a category, and you can't control it. They put you in the category.
They put me there.
So, but you knew that going in.
I did.
I'm grateful that you did it. But what was your thinking in doing it?
I can't sit around and watch innocent human beings being pushed off a cliff.
Yeah.
And not even realize they are. And what I mean by that is...
Oh, I know what you mean. I know exactly. That's such an evocative way to put it. Wow, that's right. That is what's happening.
But when listen, I've always known that I've always known the power of controlling the masses and how intense it is and how good it works. And I've known it for an extremely long time. But when I saw how many people were suffering tremendously, not from being sick, but emotionally, physically, through stress, through anger, through confusion, asking a million questions, and most powerful that the machine uses, fear.
Yes.
This fear is causing so much stress, so much anxiety. Well, I don't know. They're going to do this to me. Oh my God, they're going to do this to me. And it's a classic script that's been going on. It's just that the vice just got a little more intense. And so I started to try to find the funny, my way of finding the funny, but also in a way to make you just, maybe there's one person in the room goes, he was pretty silly, but that was pretty fascinating when he said this. And I know, and that's what I try to do usually. It's, yes, I get very animated. I like to act things out. I like to talk about family, but I also like to give you something. Just a little. I'm not a George Carlin. I'm not on any level of a Chris Rock or these people that love to really just smack down, deliver the message. That's not my calling in life. So when I first started going out there and putting out, I think the first thing that got big play was a video I made pretending I was the governor's putting out, there are new rules and regulations. And I did it with an accent and kicking up my legs, and people went, while we're in a tent in 30-degree weather. And not only did they laugh, they went, ha, 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 thank you. See? We're not the, see? But they felt relieved.
Yes.
And to try to damn that and pretend that doesn't exist, that's pretty insulting on humanity. To pretend that thought process is not going on, to pretend that thought process is not being shoved down everyone's throat, and it continues. So when it came to my shows, and I don't blame the venues. Everyone has to make money. Everyone's lost money. I get the touring companies, and I have friends that are in big bands, big bands. I have friends in low place. The point of it is, I understand everyone has to make a business, but now you're hitting the entertainment business with. Hey, listen, I started getting fans going, hey, Jim, I had tickets for so-and-so, but now they sent me an email saying I need to get vaccinated. Hey, I love you, buddy, but I ain't gonna, and I started getting more. I went, whoa, who's doing this? And I found out, I said, I can't do that. I'm not gonna allow my fans or whoever wants to be entertained to have to feel. Now the pressure is every time I go to an event, I have to do this. I remember the kid on my street. He was in college maybe a year and a half ago. And I go, hey, buddy, how you doing? He goes, whatever date he said. He said, hey, August 11th. I said, what's that? He goes, vaccine day. They're coming out with it. I went, you're 18. You're really... Why do you feel you need that? He goes, hey, listen, if that's what gets me back into my parties and that's what gets me back into my college and the dorm see the games, I don't care, man. I just want to get my life back. And that is the mentality and fear that had nothing to do with safety.
No.
He never once said, I want to be healthy. I'm scared of getting it. Hey, I know you got it. I don't know, Mrs. Breuer got it. My wife has terminal stage 4 cancer. She's doing okay. I don't mean to and she's been on a trial for 4.5 years. She had COVID. She's fine. We got her antibiotics after we were told not to. I have an infectious disease specialist doctor. That's why I went to him, because I'd go on the road. I'm on the road a lot, and every once in a while I get a terrible. He said the key is never let it get into your lungs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, don't let it get in the lungs. So they always say nose spray, and he give me nose spray, and blah, blah, blah. This went from, this is when there were so many things I thought were just bizarre. I said, Doc, what do you, I have it. He goes, can you prove it? I said, well, I've been sick for 3-4 days, and now my wife is sick and my daughter's sick, and my daughter went to school, she gets tested, she's positive, she just had to go get the real test, whatever they call it, and she's positive, so I definitely gave it to him. He said, well, you need to get tested. I said, all right, I'll get tested, but back then too, it took 3-4 days to get the real test.
Yeah.
The line is through the roof to get, you have to, we can get you in Friday at 7 p.m. All right, well, that would be day 7. What can we do in the meantime? Take vitamin C, D, blah, blah, blah. I said, there's nothing you can give me. There's nothing you can give me. I said, so it feels, he goes, do you have a fever? I said, no, not anymore. I think I had it for a day. I had a fever. My skin felt funny and I had chills. He goes, listen, until you can't breathe, just keep taking vitamins. I said, all right, I don't even want to get tested. So I waited to after the week. We're going on day about 10. A friend of mine worked, he's a nurse, works in the fire department. He's doing all the tests in the city, comes over the house. He tests himself negative just to show. Me, positive. My wife, positive. I call the doctor back. I'm positive. Which test was it? The guy's a nurse and he's no, I need this test, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing you give me. Just keep taking vitamin C, blah, 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 blah. This thing is not going away. Headache goes away. I think I beat it. Then I'm fatigued again. My wife can't taste, smell. We go online, find a doctor online. They send me prescription drugs. It was gone in 24 hours. Now, some people will politicize that and go, which they told him in my face, well, it was going to go away anyway. It was going to go away anyway. That's why it went away. And so,
What
to
drugs?
find, it was, my wife it was whatever a Z-Pack is.
Yeah.
That's the
The
one I took.
antiviral, yeah.
Yeah, it was a Z-Pack. That's what I remember, and that's my God's honest truth.
Yeah.
Now, I also had a couple other friends that started getting, they asked me, Jim, how'd you get rid of this? I said, I took a Z-Pack, and I said, your doctor's gonna say there's nothing that can help it. He's gonna tell you, this is New Jersey, so he's gonna tell you need vitamins. They say, no, give me antibiotics, and if it doesn't work, then we'll dance with whatever other remedy you have. And the one friend got the hydrochloroquine with something else. I don't remember what goes with it, with a Bayer aspirin and a nose flow. And he went away, and he said his went away immediately. 2 other friends, same thing. Swear to God, I got nothing to sell here. I don't have any.
Yeah, I get it.
But trying to find the comedy in that, in all of it, was a little difficult.
I was thinking as you were speaking,
So it was really hard to
tough to
find
make
the
a
comedy.
bit out of that, yeah.
So just saying that one little thing, hey, I don't want to force my fans to get vaxxed. You would have thought I asked people to go up to the firing line, because then the monsters come out. You should go to a hospital and see that my best friend and this thing and you savage and how dare you, and I
Seriously?
hope you get COVID and die, but I've been used to that my whole life. Yeah, oh God, yeah. You
And
should have seen after I talked with you. Holy kazooie.
not everyone's a fan. I have heard that. I'm sorry.
Not-
Thank you for coming. I loved
listen.
it when you came on.
And this is what I tell everyone. Anyone invites me just to talk and speak whatever I want to speak, I don't have ties to anything. So anyone welcomes me in the home until they do something. What's the problem? So it doesn't matter. Just pay attention to whatever the message is being brought across. But you know the state.
Judge people by
that
what they
humanity's
say
in.
and do. I completely agree with that. What about people you know, other comics? What did they say?
Well, I've had two people reach out. One was, to my surprise, and it was right. He said, everyone needs to get a mask and everyone needs to get vaccinated. He goes, I'm not. The thing is this, there's nothing wrong with me. I got vaccinated. I'm not dead. There's nothing wrong with me. And that thought process goes along the thinking of, so because it didn't happen to you, it doesn't happen?
Yeah.
I'll never forget this too. Before I moved, I don't want to say who, what, when I was a livelihood, but when the pandemic was really kicking, and it was before there was a vaccine, there's someone I know, and we were all out in the street, and he was talking about, we're close to getting a vaccine. And I said, well, I'm not taking that. And he goes, why not? I said, it's too quick. Don't vaccines take forever? Like, what is the trial and error here? And he tried to explain. He goes, well, let me explain to you. And he explained. He said, I'm too dumb to, there's a thing and a molecule and the receptors and the thing and they fly around. And he's using words. Dumb it down for me. I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, so the guy said, well, what about like side effects? And I'll never forget this moment in my life. He went like this. The good outweighs the bad. And I said to him,
Depending on what side you're on, I guess.
and I said, unless it's your child.
Right. I've been there, yeah.
Tugger, I do a benefit every year for a dear friend of mine whose child, when they had another vaccine, when the swine flu came out, his daughter the next day was paralyzed.
Yep.
Paralyzed.
Oh, I've
So when
seen it,
people
yes.
foam at the mouth and blindly say, you will take this, I have a serious issue with that.
Oh, I'm with you.
And there's no, and that's fine. That's, again, you're just blindly, in my opinion, you're either following a team that's telling, we are the table toppers, and the table toppers say we must do this. We tabletop, yeah. Well, maybe we shouldn't table. No, we table. They just blindly follow. I've never seen anything so dangerous in my life. I still get messages like, get vaccinated. Well, what about this one? I did no. Well, look them in the faces and tell them. My daughter was very skeptical. One of my daughters were.
How many daughters do you have?
3.
Me too.
They're amazing.
It's a great number.
Your poor wife.
She gets along well with them. Amazingly.
How old's the youngest?
19.
Wow, I need help from her. Okay.
How old are yours?
The youngest is 16. This is me and my wife. This is the kid. Come here, Dad. Come here, Mom. Thought you had it under control? Yeah. The heck was I just saying? Oh, what was I just saying? I don't even remember.
Do people call you and scream at you to get vaccinated, and you said,
Yeah, tell that person that to their face. Tell them, but when
your daughter's skeptical.
Thank you. My daughter is very skeptical. She's the funniest one of the crew. And she was all about, oh my God, college now just said I need to do this. I was like, wow, this machine is getting uglier and uglier and uglier, in my opinion.
Yep.
Oh, you want to go get educated?
It should be overthrown. Sorry for the editorial comment, but yes. So colleges are telling kids that they have to get the vax, and your daughter doesn't want to.
Her friend came over, and her friend that also goes there said, oh my God, I got so scared and I didn't want to get it. And my parents begged me not to get it, but I got it. And she took out pictures. And she said, for almost 6 to 8 weeks, I was afraid to tell anyone there was something wrong with me because I was now embarrassed and my parents told me not to do it. This kid her eyes were blood red with pus. And this kid is 19 years old. She was showing her legs completely inflamed with black and blue, all up and down. And so, thank God, my daughter, who was kind of fighting us with that, saw that, and it came from nowhere. And those are the people that are petrified to say anything. She said, I'm like, I didn't want to tell anyone. So that one person, don't say you need to take this. You go talk to that person's parents. You go talk to that person. You say to their face, with your blind emotions and your blind finger pointing and your soullessness and your thoughtlessness and your carelessness and pure dark agenda. Because let's not kid ourselves. There's something deeper involved here, I'm sure. You think?
You mean it's not really about COVID?
Come on. Send the thunder.
Sire, the project is working just perfectly. I don't know, we're starting to have rebellion. Send out more fear. Shut down the universities as quick as possible, and they shall never be educated unless they get a shot. I love it, sire.
Send out. Did you send out the word that needs to be said? Trust the science. 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 It's almost.
You just summed
trust
it
the
up.
experts. Trust the experts. Trust the experts. Read all about it. Trust the experts. Trust the experts. It's so comical, but yet the fact that nobody, I should say nobody, people pretend it doesn't exist. Or they don't see it. It's mind-boggling. For me, mind-boggling. Mind-boggling.
You just summed it up better, I think. Our producer Lexi is sitting here just videotaped you because that was just so good on her iPhone. Last question. What is this? So you've laid. I mean, what you just said, which is completely defensible and true and hilarious, is so far over the line. That what does this mean for you?
I'll tell you what it means. As long as I'm truthful in my vision,
Yes.
it's worth every second.
Yes. That's called art, by the way. When you're totally focused on what you believe is true, that's art.
Well, then because I will tell you this. I don't watch television.
Good.
I don't read papers. Over the last week or whatever that I've been doing it, people say, "Oh, they're killing your hero." I don't get that. That means somebody's worried. When someone's got to go, this server, he hasn't worked since, and you know what? That's the discredit. I know that tool. As long as I walk the line, the thing that's most empowering is when I look at the messages and they don't stop.
Yeah.
Thank you. God bless you. You don't know how I feel. And I'm not only just getting messages, I'm getting powerful messages
Yes.
where people go, can I just tell you,
Yes.
I've been a nurse for years and I've seen this firsthand, and they're basically warning us and they're telling us I'm going to get fired, and if I say anything, this is full-blown fear. And to hear people, I had one person reach out and go, I lost my job, but I found a better cause. I'm taking care of my grandmother who can't take care of herself, and they wouldn't let me see her in the nursing home. So now I took her out of the nursing home and I take care of her every day, and it's the greatest thing. So I'm finding the positive, but the fact that I'm getting beautiful stories, and
Yes.
thank you for saying what you said, and thank you for just being honest.
Yes.
And passionate. And when you reach the time in life when you're honest and you're passionate and your intentions are good and you got to worry about that, there's a problem. There's a serious problem going on. And I'm not the one that's going to make change. I just walk along my path and try to make you feel. To me, I realized as a kid, we're all stuck in this game forever until we're out of here. So while we're here, let's try to enjoy ourselves and just share a laugh, because this ain't the easiest place to live. Can we all just do that? But they always just gotta make it a little extra complicated. So hopefully I can heal the ones that really need that hearty laugh. There you go.
This moment has brought out the worst in so many people, but it's also, at the same time, brought out the very best in others, and you're one of them. And I appreciate your coming on.
Thank you, and thank you for asking me to come on.
Oh, it was very much our honor. Thank you. Jim Breuer.
Thank you, brother. Be safe.
Tucker Carlson Day is the name of the show. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Fox Nation. We'll see you every weeknight, 8 p.m. on the Fox News Channel.